welcome to part 2 of the Hobonichi 123 series, where I basically lolled and baited myself, basically saying it can't be done and that I don't have a real recipe, but I kind of do. It's a real grey muddy area, but I said that I would complete my spread and sort of walk you through my process to give you an idea about how my brain works when putting things together, and to sort of show you the zigzag almost, if that actually happens. But I'm going to be working on the spread of my trip that we recently, it's not really a trip, I make it sound way fancier than it was. We went to go pick up my teacup humans who were staying in Inverell, which is rural New South Wales. They were staying with my sister and one at my mum's house because they cannot be kept together because they are mortal enemies. And they hadn't seen my family since the beginning of the year and they were terribly missing them. So when my sister came and stayed with us for a week for school, she actually took the kids back home with her, and then I got 2 weeks kid-free, which was just beautiful. Even though I went about my life as if nothing had happened and worked and did all the same things, it was nice to do it in silence, I guess, is the way to say it, basically. So I am going to be trying to work on these 2 pages. Whether they get finished in this video or not is another thing, because I will do a lot of talking and talking you through things. I'll try and speed little bits and pieces up so that it's not just another hour-long video, and I know I said that in the last video and it happened to be bang on an hour, so we shall see. One of the things that I have sort of prepped or done beforehand was I got hubby to send me the little map of the location from home all the way up to Inverell up here, and the map that we took basically. And so he did that for me. He's very lovely like that. I was going to sketch it, but I decided I was not going to waste the time sketching it, even though it'd be cute. I just was like, nah, it's okay. I've run out of 4x6 photo paper, which is what I was going to print it on. So a little trick and something to think about when creating ephemera for your journals is you can print on basically anything. I have a printer that takes all different size papers, so you just move the guidelines. And I have a section, like a tray that's set to 4x6 and one that's set to A4. So I have made one of my trays 4x6, and I normally have 4x6 photo paper in there. So when I want to do a batch of photo prints, instead of using a sprocket or my selfie printer, I just use my home printer, because sometimes it works out a bit cheaper to do it that way. And when I know I'm printing multiples of things, it's cheaper to do it that way. I've run out of that paper and I'm not about to go out of the house and face the apocalypse for some 4x6 paper right now. I decided to do something that I used to do way back at uni and in high school days, was just print on whatever I had available. Now, I was looking for 4x6 Project Life cards, but I couldn't put my hands on any. I could only find my 3x4s. So I kind of went through my paper stash and went, okay, what would look cool with this backed onto it? So I found this paper pad that I've had for a little while that I haven't really used too much, and this has like a whole heap of really cool designs and such like so, and they're a little bit big, so I thought this will be fine. I cut the piece of paper, so it was just a piece of paper like so. So 2 sections of this, so 1 and 2. So this is a 6x8 paper pad, and you'll get 2 4x6s down it, and then I just perforate the top. And I actually printed the map onto this piece of paper. Gives it a little bit of visual interest. It has got grid lines on it, so I can journal on the sides of here. I did take a photo of hubby when we stopped for dinner that I might be able to put on there. I can put my journaling in here. I can color this in. I'm actually considering making this line red with a Le Pen, or wherever my marker is, like the dark red touch marker, to make it a red line. I made the map black and white because I thought it looked better against the paper, but it is like one of those green. Did I bring the second copy with me? I did print it out in color and I was like, I don't like that, and then I must have just like chopped it. So So I kept I kept the black and white version, but I'm definitely considering coloring in bits and pieces. I think I will relabel Sydney and Inverell up here with either bits of paper with some hand stamping on it, so like altering it again to make it more my own. We only stopped the ones. I do have a photo of us, well, of Hobbies when we stopped, because Boo was actually following us. We have an app on our phones. Everyone's got it on our phones, so we know where we all are at one time. It was generally an app we put on our phones when Laji got a phone and was taking it to school, so I could track where he was and to make sure that he's safe and all that sort of stuff. And it tells me when hubby's left home, when he's arrived at work, and such like that. So Lily's got the app on her iPad and obviously was following us without our, we didn't realize she was following us. And so when we stopped at Macca's to grab some dinner, which is the easiest highway stop that we normally stop at, Lily sent us a message when we were in the drive-through going, "Are you at Macca's?" And then I don't know why I turned around looking for her as if she was spying. And so I told hubby that Lily was stalking us, and the photo of him that we sent to Boo was this one of him being shocked that she had found us. So it's the only photo I took on the trip there. But I am considering printing a small version of it to go on here at some like where we stopped, because obviously this doesn't have any other stops on it. But I thought that would be a cute little addition, but sort of altering the map to make it more sort of my own. And it reminds me of that movie with Orlando Bloom and I'm gonna have to find it. Give me 1 second, it's gonna drive me nuts. It's Elizabethtown, and Kirsten Dunst had made a road trip sort of scrapbook thing that Orlando Bloom took his dad's ashes all on this trip. It was epic, it's beautiful. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. It is such a beautiful movie.
It's a very unique map. It's for your road trip home.
Right, a map.
You promised, remember?
No, I do, I remember.
I want you to get into the deep, beautiful melancholy of everything that's happened. It's a great map.
The route of Claire's map, with accompanying music and detailed instructions, would take 42 hours and 11 minutes. Turn on ignition. Begin your journey and do not skip ahead.
Give me the brew! That's life. In heaven today.
It's easier because it's surrender.
Yeah, my way was
I say, make time to dance alone, with one hand weaving free.
Square one, my slate is clear.
And it reminded me of that, like the maps and things. Oh, it was so cool. The big scrapbooky journal thing that she creates for him in the end. Oh, it was just, I loved it so much. I'm gonna have to track it down, see if I can watch it again. But this tiny little piece of ephemera reminded me of an entire movie, even though it is so very basic. But that's kind of what I want to attempt first. So I did also cut these out as maybe using them as tip-ins, but I'm not quite sure. I kind of shoved all my ephemera in here from the other day. Not all, like just everything and anything that I had out on my desk when I was chatting to you guys, because I had like paper everywhere on that day, and it was just kind of encompassing my entire desk. So these are the pictures from the actual place that we went to, and I have the Polaroids over here of Hubs, and I've also I cut out a few little tip-ins from a paper pack that I had when I was tidying my desk, and it says like, make today an adventure. It's the little things in life, and then there was another one that's like, smile, be brave, and kind and smart, but that's not really it's not appropriate for this sort of travel journal. There was this little piece of floral brown paper that I cut up from another tip in. So I'm just sort of gathering bits and pieces that kind of give me the feels, and I kind of look for a general theme and a general color. I like to kind of make my colors all sort of match as nicely as possible, and that's not all the time, but if I'm doing a certain theme or a certain spread or a feel, I kind of will go, okay, I've got lots of this color and this color in these photographs, what ephemera will match it. A lot of brown paper ends up in my spreads because it just matches kind of everything. I really like the tea-dyed stuff. It works really well. I love all the florals and things. Obviously, there's a time and a place when I will go nuts and just color everything mental. And obviously, this is really bright and colorful as well. So there's lots of things to do, but I kind of want to narrow it down, get an idea of where I'm going, where I'm headed, and work on that. And then let's see if this looks, oh, this looks meh. Oh no, it gives it it's okay, it's okay. It's better than I expected. I mean, yes, I could very well I could draw this myself, which I did consider, like I said. And then there's also the concept, oh, that's in my Clover Robin book, which this is, I look at this book at least twice a week minimum because it just makes me so freaking happy. And I loved this concept as well, like her little trip, personalized maps. And if I was doing something, if I was doing a trip that was a bit more epic than like a little road trip to pick up my kids, this would be something I'd honestly consider doing, because I really like the concept of it. I think it's a super creative way, and maybe if I wasn't filming all this and there was no pressure and stuff, I may have considered it as well, because I want to try that concept. And it's not like I'm going to get out to travel anytime soon, like proper travel, not just to go to the country to pick up my kids. We did go out the very next day, which, if you don't know, the trip to Inverell is about 7.5 to 8 hours, depending on stops. We stop more when we've got the kids for obvious reasons. So it's around about an 8-hour trip, also if you're stuck in traffic. And so we arrived at about 20 past 2 in the morning on Saturday morning to Inverell. And my sister left her front door unlocked for us, and we just set up our bed and went to sleep. And then the next day we decided, my sister wanted to take us to this place that was called like Hanging Rock Creek or something. I've got pictures of the sign on my camera roll, which I need to print. And that was a 2.5 hour trip one way. So we did all that driving on the Friday night, all through the night, and then we did another 4.5 hours on the Saturday to go like to and from this place. Don't get me wrong, it was stunning. I just wish we'd had more time to spend there with everyone, because time is of the essence, and we had to get home before too dark, because then the kangaroos come out, and those guys they can really wreck your car if you hit a roo, and they come out around dusk time. And so we've done all of this I don't know if I want to make this red, but I think I'm going to put the word Inverell over it, so it doesn't really matter. We did all of this driving, and then the next day we drove home. So it was exhausting, but we wanted to do something as two families with the kids and just sort of have a nice day out and do something different. And I'm glad we did. We had a blast. The kids had a blast. It's just really rough on the parents, obviously doing, well, no, I didn't even drive, so what can I say? But yeah, so that, I think hubby may be sending me the map of the second trip drive, which I may put in here, may not sure. Technically this is a Friday night thing, but we got there in the early hours of the morning on Saturday, so that's why I decided to put it on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to print out a few more photos and probably grab some different types of papers to work into the spread. So I have lots of gridded colored papers. Like I said to you before, I like using papers to break things up. I have these little papers here, so I got these in Japan. I've got normal gridded papers. I've obviously got I got so much paper, man. I got so much paper. It's scary. I would be picking up little pieces like this to add to little sections because it has a country feel, and obviously we had gone to the country. Oh my god, I shouldn't have moved my tub. I shouldn't have moved the tub. But I know how Inverell feels as a town, so I kind of move my ephemera that I pick will all be very country themed and very old worldy and looking, because that's how I feel when I go back home to Inverell. And it just evokes a certain feeling, the township. I could maybe include some pressed flowers, not too sure. These are all just random tip-ins. And what else can I include when looking and thinking about like stuff to put on the spread and accompany it? This is brown card, it's too thick. I do like the sun and fun because we did have a little bit of sun while we were there. It's a very muted tone. Let's see, is there anything else that I can use from this little stash? I may remove this star because I don't want the bulk. I like the magic tag. Star can go. I generally pick out a heap of stuff that I think will match the spread, and then I whittle it down as I start putting the pages together. Beatrix Potter. Photographs, 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 photographs. So that's pretty much it for that little spread, for that little box of crazy ephemera that just sits on my desk. And is what it is basically. Then I have this massive pen paper pouch. So I've got some brown paper on the edge of here that I can use. Got some of this paper. If I decide to, I've got like sewn tip-ins that I've got sort of lying around from previous things. More brown paper. I think that will be it, because once I add my photos and things, I think that will be more than enough stuff. I'm going to get out my stamps, my lettering stamps, and some ink, because I'm going to be stamping out Inverell and Sydney and adding that. And I think I may put some journaling in here, and if I do that, I would probably add it as a square on the actual thing instead of writing straight onto it, to make it more bold, to make my eyes go straight to it, and to add a bit of a collaged effect. So I'm going to sort all this out, print some photos, get my inks and stamps, and then we're going to move on to the second part.
Close to fear and doubt, I stopped and turned, trying to find out. There might be something I forgot, but all I know is that I miss you a lot, a lot. 7 days of eternity, 7 days in another country. Every cell screams, stay right here, and my legs, they freeze us in fear.
So I have done the dates. I've got a piece of paper to add here for some journaling. I then went into my phone and used the app PicStitch, which I use for all my photo collages, and used my sprocket because I didn't want large photos. And this is a 3x4 print using like all the tiny little images, but I found that was going to be a touch too small. I'll still like use these images around maybe a tip-in and stuff, but I reprinted it with only 4 photographs, and this is kind of the size I was happy with for putting on my little map down here. And I'm going to have cover up Sydney and put it sort of here, and the little picture of hubby. And then I'm also going to use my stamps for Friday and Saturday, and I'm gonna put them onto a piece of paper, probably this one here, because we left Friday night and we arrived Saturday morning, so I kind of wanted to show the passing of time as well for that. I do have another map which I'm trying to decide whether I want to put on the actual thing or not, because the second trip we took was 2 hours and 11 minutes, and that was to go to the actual it's called Kangai, and it's where we had the actual day out the next day. I think I may include unpaved paths. Yes, the place that we actually went was off-road, and this is the whole reason why at the end of the year Hubs and I are upgrading the family car after 7 years to a 4-wheel drive, so that we can do a lot more of this with my sister and stuff, because our little car it just coped with this trip. We had to take a special roundabout way to get to where we actually stopped, because our car wouldn't actually go where my sister's car went. We had to park off to the side and walk it, so because our car wouldn't go over the small baby terrain that their car could. So I think I might actually make this a smaller little mini map and print that probably on some of the same sort of paper and have that sort of down in the corner, because I don't want to make a big focus of too many maps, but I like the idea of the maps, and I think it would be a really cute sort of design feature. And I probably will put that map for this trip, I will desaturate it so it's brown, black and white. I'll probably put that up in this corner. So I like to start, like I said, with zigzags. I have my dates. I'm going to put some dates up here, and then I like to fill in the corners of things and then build out from there. Maria said that I like to start in the corners because I'm never sure if I'm going to like what I do, and probably that's got a lot to do with it. But I think printing this map a little bit smaller on some normal grid paper, so I'm going to cut down some Muji paper for the 4x6, and then I'm going to make a 4x6 print, but in PicStitch I'm going to collage some other photos into it so that the map is small, and I'll probably pick some of my favorite pictures from the actual trip and put them on there, so that when they print onto the paper it'll print at a different size. But yeah, I think the map up here for the actual trip that we took, and then build outwards. I really like how this is looking so far. We're getting there. But yeah, even though I'm talking a lot, I kind of wanted to show you bits and pieces about you know, processes and things, getting those memories down, getting the photographs, because I took a heap of photographs on the actual day that we went out, and that was the Saturday. And Sunday is obviously the trip home. There weren't so many photographs, there's a couple, but it'd be more about sort of the journaling on the day that we took the trip home. So it would be a lot of reminiscing about family trips and all that sort of thing when it comes to family memories, like trips we've taken as a family, trips my sister and I have taken as kids and things. So it'll be a lot of more reflective journaling than what we did, because we sat in the car for 8.5 hours and then we got home. I will have some photos, because I think I took maybe 1 or 2 on the car ride home, but I definitely the majority of the stuff that happened was on the Saturday, but I will try and spread a little bit of that within the spine of this, because there's so much that happened on the Saturday it could almost overflow slightly into Sunday, and then I would make a sort of a definitive line that it was all part of Saturday stuff, and Sunday was just the trip home. Whew. Explaining it step by step makes me sound like a crazy person, and I feel that on all the levels. I understand, but I did promise that I would talk you through how I would put a page like this together, and it would normally take me a heap of time. I really like the look of this because I like the trees that we passed on. Some of the trips have, some of the places in the streets of the townships that we go through have things like this, so I would put this down and I would just journal over the top of it, or I would add some lined paper over the top of it and make it a key feature. But yeah, I'm gonna go and print this out with a couple of other photos on some grid paper. I'm gonna go cut that down, and then we're gonna start assembling the bits and pieces together.
We got time after this, but I'll need you as my brightest light. Even in the darkest night, you shine so bright. Can someone make this disappear? I'm having a crisis down here.
Because I've decided to turn a big chunk of the second part of this book as a Saturday spread, I'm going to use this photo, which is the photo I took on the Sunday morning. That's why hubby looks so exhausted, and use this as a page break. And then I will add the 19 down here. So I've just got some stamps from my collection, and I'm going to do it in a black. And this little piece of paper that I cut out, I'm going to step excuse me, the 19 on there and add that to that section down there. So that means like that will represent the 19th, and then the top half will be a continuation of the 18th and the trip that we took as a little family, like our little getaway trip. Oh my goodness, get on. There we go. So I will get a black pen. Okay, black pen. And I'm just going to scribble loosely in my end frame, hopefully, yes, around the 19. And then we can layer that here and either put that up here or sort of tab it up here on the side. And then this little bottom part here will just be a little bit of journaling. And I think I took a photo of my Gilio in my lap from that trip. I'm pretty sure that's all. Let me double check. The only photos that I actually took on that day, like on the way home, were one of my Gilio on the dashboard, and then this one here. So I'd be more inclined, this one's clearer, than this one, although this one shows the actual road. So I'll play with filters maybe and see if I can brighten that up, and if I can't, then I'll probably end up using this one, and then put that as a little photo down here and add some journaling about reflecting on the trip and all that sort of stuff. So this is a great way to sort of break up your page. If you've got a photograph that sort of spans the lead length of a 4x6, you can definitely use that as a page break, like a scenery shot, or like the, if I was wanting to, I could definitely use like this shot and have that span across my page and have that as like a page break as well, because this was one of the shots that I took while we were driving home from our little Saturday family trip, so I could definitely use that as well. But I've got so many pictures and things that I want to use, it's kind of like finding all the places for them and fitting them all together and making them all work. So I've got, this is the little printout that I printed of the map for our little day trip. I've got some vintage paper to layer on that. I'm going to put the red line on there as well to make it stand out a little bit. I printed these ones just on some cotton paper from Muji. So this was like a little, it says postcard size, so 4x6, and then it gives a little bit of a sort of softness and vintagey feel to the photographs, which lent itself well to the whole feel of the spread, because it was very road trip country-esque. That's why it's got that sort of feel to it. So I didn't mind printing those on there. And I've got the little photograph of Hanging Rock Road, if you can see there, which has got the hanging rocks attached to the sign, because in Australia we like to be dorks. And I'm going to put that with this little map here and make a little cluster. That is something that I didn't mention when I was doing the first video, is that I do like to build things in little collage clusters and sort of bring them out. And that's what a lot of the time when I'm creating things, I make little sections and little corners of things. Probably not in this one because there's barely any journaling in here, but I build from the bottom upwards from the corners and sort of spread down into the centers. So I'm currently working on creating a little collage cluster in the corner with all these little details about the trip, and adding I like to add different textures of paper, different looks, from like bits of torn brown paper to bits of tissue paper. Having lots of different textures really helps your little clusters work. Washi tape, you can use a whole amount of different things to create these little things.
Yesterday, there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane. And as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise. And now, there's something in the air, and a sparkly shimmer on our skin.
of journaling on the actual piece of the gridded paper. Now I want to get this tip in on, and so because I have created a bit of journaling off the side, normally I would just run a line of tape down here, but because my journaling kind of runs along that, I can do two options. One would be some clear tape, which I would normally do. I've got all these little pictures over here to create another little mini photo montage that I was testing over here. But I want to create a little bit of visual interest instead. And what I've done is I've gone through my stash of tapes and I've kind of picked a few that sort of match the theme. And I'm gonna do like a broken border. And I did something similar here with some washi tape that wasn't really attaching anything, but I really liked how that looked, and I thought I can bring this element in here, and then I can skip this section without any tape and then move on to up here, because I don't really want to put anything else there, but I want to adhere the tip in to the page. So I thought, why not do another little bit of a broken washi tape border. I like how the ripped tape looks. So I would have a little bit on the tip in and a little bit off on the actual page, and then I would go through and add in. So let's say I wanted the whole flower, because there's nothing there to sort of worry about. I'm going to line it up here. These are various amounts. So this is a classic-y washi tape. I've got a couple, and the rest are MT. Yeah, this one's MT. No, I think this is classic-y as well with the days of the week. I have it in brown, red, and the pink. And then you can add those. This is a really big one, which I will just cut down. And so I'm adhering the actual tip in. Oh, there's tape already there. So let's put this one up here. And I need a little piece to run along here. So let's pick some of this. This is from the Japan. It's like travel themed, but it is MT branded, so it's got like tickets and things on it. And if I'm really careful, I can just, I've got tape on my fingers, do that like that, and then that still adheres the actual tip in without any issues whatsoever. And then on the back one here, I would just run a normal piece of tape up the side, because you obviously, I want a bit of stability. This is probably not the best tape. This is a Tim Holtz tape, but it's got zero stick. It's crappy. It is a beautiful tape, but I would use it as I wouldn't use it as my normal go-to tape, if you get what I mean. So I'm just gonna layer those two on top of each other like so. So that is on our page. I wanted to make sure that I had the kangai here, and then I've got my little tiny photographs that I printed off on my tip in. I decided to create a little photo montage down here with them. I didn't want them to go to waste, so I've just cut them up into little lines. I've cut some of the single pictures out because the ones that I cut away were ones that I've already featured in a big format I should say, and I didn't want to repeat them. So I've kind of got a whole bunch of tiny ones, and then I've got these ones that were the same size as this one here. So I'll do like a mix and match, and I will put those onto the page, and then we're slowly building down. I'm gonna have something here, and I have this Polaroid of hubby because we kind of go across here, and I would be putting something here. I would be using some paper to sort of cover up this little aspect down here, which will be the brown paper, tea-dyed paper, grid paper, or something to that effect. And then I'm trying to decide whether I have these images. I think I might cut this one down. I did think about having them layered over and then you could flip them up, but I really like this picture of Hubs, so I don't know what I'm going to do there. I've also got this one as well, but I can also definitely tip in pictures over here on this tip in as well, so I can definitely use that to my advantage. I don't know if I like these two diagonal from each other. I think they compete too much. I could put that up here, up here. I could create a little pocket and have them together, have them pinned together inside the pocket. That's also an option, because I do really love them. And then I could just put little tabs on top of them. I like that idea. I like that idea. These ones I definitely would think about sort of layering them up here together. Actually, this one needs to go on top because it was taken first. So I am going to chop this down just slightly because I think the different sizes are nice. But I would keep this and use that somewhere in my actual journaling. I like them kind of off center. We could put them to the side here. I do think that this needs to be backed with something, so I'm going to look for some gridded paper or some tea-dyed paper, something along those lines. I mean, I could layer the yellow across there. That would work. It's the same color scheme as everything else. Also, the pink looks really nice. This could work really nicely with some journaling on the top. Where those pictures go? Ugh. I like having them sort of sporadically thrown onto a page so it looks like they're I would tape them sort of this way and this way to make it look like they were taped Polaroids almost, to give it that sort of road trippy feel. So what I might do is I might come in with some bits of ripped paper, because I don't like straight edges, guys. I try and avoid them at all costs, and I definitely I'm not a massive fan of how they look, so I do try and have some ripped paper sort of layered over things. And I generally will pick neutrals as well, because I just think when you've got such beautiful photographs, you want to have paper that downplays, is just easy on the eyes to look at, because if you're having lots of competing images, it just, your eyes don't know what to focus on, and I want your eyes to go to my photographs and all that, and then this sort of gives that old nostalgic road trip feel without being a competition for the eyes. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Oh my goodness, I hope I'm making sense. Anyway, I'm going to glue all this down and get some tape and tape these down, and then I'll work out exactly what I'm going to do. I'll probably speed this little section of me placing these items on the page sped up for you, because I can already tell this video is 100 years long, but it has to be explained.
Oh my child, I know you're hurt and you can't let go. It's not your fault and you don't deserve all the bad and the hurt. I know you tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. Did your time. How much longer will you suffer in this life? But don't give up. Just hold on tight. it'll be alright. All your life you've tried to be a good man inside. Did everything that you thought you should. Didn't seem to do you any good. I know you've tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. You did your time. How much longer will you suffer in this life? But don't give up. Just hold on tight. It'll be alright. I know you tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. You did your time. How much longer will you suffer in this life? But don't give up. Just hold on tight. It'll be alright.
Right, next step. We're chugging along. It's late at night, so I took a break because filming under these studio lights on my eyes after a really long time is a little bit distressing to the eyes. So let's get all these photographs that we've got here. So we've got all these different ones. There's one missing. Those two go up the top. So we've got these, and this is a blank piece of paper, and I don't want it to be blank, but I don't want to add another sheet of paper, but I want to put something under them to give them a little bit of texture and to sort of pull them into the spread. Now I will probably pull in some of this sort of orangey color, and I'm going to do that with colored pencils. So I'm gonna pull out two shades, maybe three. See how we go. So these sorts of shades, and because I know I'm not going to journal in this section, am just going to scribble, and I'm going to pull it over here, and I'm going to give them a sort of background to hang out on. And I'm connecting this piece of ephemera with this piece of ephemera. By doing that, and just put a little bit of, well, that's a bit too red, so let's try this one. Orange. Okay, so let's put a couple of these on. These two, and put a couple of lines. Let's pull this down a little bit. So you can see that there it's creating just something. It just creates a little bit of a background. It's not stark white. You could do this with watercolor as well. I could definitely throw some wet watercolor over that section, like a Quinn Gold or something, to bring that sort of orange in, but I didn't want to add any wet media right now, especially at this time of night. I just don't have the patience. So let's put this one here. I don't want to overlap her face, so maybe I'll switch them over and put this one underneath that brown paper, and I'm offsetting them a little bit. I'm overlapping the photographs onto the brown paper so they connect to that ephemera again. I want to put these little single ones sporadically. There's Elijah with his skimming rock. They were trying to find skimming rocks to skim. And then I'll put this little tiny baby one of the car up here in this corner here. So that creates a little bit. So I'm gonna stick these down because these are sprocket prints, so they're sticky back. Ooh. Which makes my life a lot easier. Put that one just over. But I just didn't want to waste these little photos, but I thought as a whole, like having them as a whole 3x4 print was too much for the spread. And I obviously had double ups of these pictures because I reprinted them at a larger size. And I sometimes do that. We'll print the same photo in a few sizes to work out which ones are going to make it in as a feature one, and which one is going to be a more like side bit. And even though I love like the hanging rock road sign and everything like that, I just think that they aren't as important as some of the scenery, pictures of hubby. I've got bigger pictures of the kids in my camera roll, but a lot of them are in their knickers and things, and because none of them it's winter here in Australia, no one brought the right stuff to wear into the water, so I kind of don't feel comfortable having them on a large scale. And obviously they're not just my kids, they're also my nieces and nephew. I mean, there's one here of my niece, but I've got a strategically placed sun flare in the photograph, and I made sure that it was a small one, not a big one. I didn't want to have big picture of Wally doing silly things. But I like having all the little pictures broken up. It's a little visual interest section. It's almost like a mini gallery. I really like it. A picture of Boo conquering the world under her. Once she'd finally got wet, she fell in. She saturated, so she decided to get herself to this big rock that they were all trying to get to. So she just by the end of it, she was saturated from head to toe, basically. Shoes, socks, undies, bra, you name it. But it's making memories at the end of the day, and they all had a great time. So we've got those in there. I am going to glue down this pencils. Come on, man, go away. This little bit here, so that's not annoying the hecker out of me. And then I'm going to come in and put a few little bits of this pencil in there. And I'd be even inclined to put a little bit of brown. Right, the other thing I decided to do was, this is a photograph that was part of part of the ones that I did on the cotton paper. It's a bit washed out with the filter that I put in. I didn't think it was going to be as washed out as it was, but I don't want to waste it. So I have decided to sort of slip it, because it's still a pretty background. I've decided to slip it behind there. It's still part of this spread. It's just not a like a focal feature. So I thought that'd be a good way to sort of still have it within the spread. I liked the picture. It's actually a picture of some purple flowers that were growing near a tree. And so I thought it would do just fine there in the corner. It creates a bit of a background from here. And then we've got this picture here. I put this brown paper here so that it was not as stark, because there would have been a white gap and I didn't like that. So we've got that to go down there. And then I have picked up a few pieces of Tim Holtz paper from a paper pad called Wallflower. And this one seemed to suit the look and worked really well. I had a couple of other ones, but I think I like this one the best. And it suits the tape that's already there, because I wanted to pop these little Polaroids into a pocket so that they're still part of the spread, but I can still take them in and out, and I like to do that often. So I needed to make it big enough to fit the Polaroids, so they will fit in there. So what I'm going to do is I am going to tape down the sides. Lily's got my clear tape. I'll get my clear tape and I'll I think I might brown tape the bottom, because I think that would look better with my brown tape. I'm not going to make it as thick, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half so that I still have the brown tape, but I don't need a piece this thick because it will cover up half the pattern. How big is it? How big do I need it to be? So it still suits the aesthetic of the page. Let's tape it down here. Where is that green? Maybe I can just use this on the side. And then I might just recover that flower. And that will still fold like so. Got to make sure our tip-ins are doing its job. And then these become a little pocket, and I can put some journaling. I might cut this down slightly so it's not so massive. It's not taking up a heap of room. Even though this was part of a beach spread, like a beach thing, which you'll never catch, much to my kids' dismay, me at the beach very often. I think it could be a cute addition. Oh, maybe over here. Yeah, that kind of works in that little gap there that I've got. Where's my glue? Oh, it's over here. Never mind. We're getting there. We're getting there, guys. But as you can see, we are creating visual interest. Was that a dumb move? Yes, it was. Let's move this piece over so that our tip-in can still do its job. Yeah, we can still see sections of this. It's still working quite well. We've still got our photographs, which I will then add some little tabs to pull out with maybe washi tape or something. I could put this little piece here, I guess, for some extra journaling. I don't think I've got anything like any more photographs that besides no, I probably will put more brown paper. Will that work there? This is trial and error now. We're at trial and error stage. Sorry, hubby came in to visit me and he didn't realize I was filming. But yeah, so I've also got these little ones, but I think they're all they're all doubles, so there's no point putting them in here. Do I want to put them in here? But they're all, no, No, I made the decision they're not going in there. They can go somewhere else in a different spread. So let's make some tabs. I want to put I want to put 10 a.m. On there, I think, because that's when we set off on our adventure. I know the one's around here somewhere. There's a 6. My desk is a mess, but that's okay. Okay, so 10. Let's get, do I want it to be black? Yes, let's go with black. This is little archival ink. Oh man, I hate that so much. I was like, yeah, I'm doing good, and then I gotta like try and line it up again, and good enough. And let's go A M. Okay. All right, let's glue down this piece of ephemera over here quickly. This one is not a sprocket print, so we need glue. And that will create our little buffer border, like so. And my number is floating around here somewhere that I cut out, the 19, because this is all 18. So we're going to put the 19 over here next to hubby's head, Mayan frame. Who knows anymore? Oh, I almost pushed a whole glass jar of water off my desk with that. This is what happens. I get so chaotic and I add so much stuff while I'm journaling that everything just gets shoved to one side. Okay, so we've got those there. I need some journaling. I need to add something in this corner. I need to work out what that is. Needs to be something. I need to look through my ephemera and see if there's anything that I've got that I can put down in this corner. It could essentially just be some brown paper and some more journaling about the trip itself. I know I've got a couple more pictures. Maybe I'll do a couple more smaller size prints and place them over here, because I did take quite a lot of photos and I feel like not everything is being showcased, and I'd like to showcase it a little bit more. So I might go through my photos and see what I'd like to print and make bigger. Ran out of memory card space. I'm going to tidy up my desk a bit because it's getting to the point where it's just ridiculous, and come back and see where the last bit of this spread will go. I'll do a bit of journaling along here, but I think we're almost at the end game. I love it. I think it's going really well. I love the map, I love the feels of it, I love the little bits and pieces, but this is how I build things from the ground up. I really take time to think about the feel that I want. What are my pictures looking like? How can I incorporate the color scheme of those? Do I have a feel that I want to do with it? Obviously this is a lot easier because I'm doing a trip, but I would generally do the same thing regardless. So like with the we're going to turn the page and bend that photograph. So like with this, I made sure that I was bringing in colors that were all sort of similarly related. So I've brought the pink in with the flower, and down here I've got a green in my dress. I've got florals in the teacup, which denote those colors. So I'm bringing in the same sorts of feelings with my ephemera, with my photographs, and trying to really build on those colors. There's green and yellow in this picture. I've added some of the ink moss. I've pulled in a blue so I could put in my sticker here. So I'm kind of always paying attention to what I've got going on in my photographs and work accordingly. I do try and keep it cohesive. I do try and have my elements overlap so it all looks like one cohesive bit, not just shoving things on a page. And obviously this is a really elaborate spread, and not every spread is going to look like this, but I kind of wanted to show you how I would go and build something like this just out of a couple of photos and a map basically, and some brown paper. And there's no drawing involved. It's photographs, it's layering papers. I deliberately didn't draw anything in this spread because I didn't want people to go, well, you know, it's her drawing that's making her spread look amazing. It's her illustrations that are doing it. I can't do that, but I haven't added a single thing that you couldn't do in your own journal with your own photographs in the same concept. It is literally just layering and letting your elements talk to each other and building a story. Let your life build the story of your journal. That's what it is. We're telling our story. We're telling our stories about what's happening, whether it be a trip to go pick up the kids or a trip to the grocery store. It can be the same thing. If you're going out for the day and it's your one trip because you're in lockdown, then map that shit out, man. Make it an event, because at the moment going to the grocery store is an event. Celebrate it, talk about it, post about it, reflect on it. How did it feel? You know, going to the grocery store at the moment is a strange experience. Document it. I mean, it's not every day that this sort of stuff happens. It's not every day that we go through a pandemic. Fingers crossed, touch wood, please, to all the powers that be, let this not become something that we're going to forever be feeling, because I don't want to feel like this all the time, because it makes me uneasy and it makes the world feel like a sad, soulless place at the moment. And I honestly think that these are the stories that are important to tell. And even if that is taking a trip to the grocery store during a pandemic, document it, write it out, photograph things, write about how it makes you feel, how things have changed since the pandemic. Like, I wouldn't normally go to all this effort to document a trip to see my family, but I haven't seen my family in 6 months. I haven't seen them since early January when my dad was in hospital and I was cooking all that food for him and my mom. I haven't seen them. I haven't been with them, and it was nice to do something different. We even though we were all exhausted from all the driving, it was something different, and it was making memories, and it's memories that I wanna keep. I wanna celebrate, and I'm glad that I'm taking the time to make it into something that is memorable, because it's not an everyday thing. And I want my kids to look back and be like, oh yeah, I remember how Lily slipped over and fell into the slimy mud pile, and I remember skimming rocks with daddy, and how Elijah sucked at it, and so did mummy, to be honest, and how my sister and I sat on the rocks laughing at being stupid, and she was pointing her feet like a ballet dancer, because my sister's had this obsession thinking she could have been a dancer. And I always say that line to her from Billy Elliot where the little grandma says, I could have been a dancer if I had the training. And that's what I recited to her while we sat there laughing on the bank near the river. These are things that are important to remember, because they're gone in a flash, and if you don't document it, you don't write it down, our memories are going to fail us. I have Alzheimer's in my family and dementia in my family, and there's no guarantee that my brain's going to keep all this information and all these things in it. So I just want you guys to understand that, like I said in my last video, your journals are magic. They are magical memories that you are documenting, whether it be a trip somewhere, or a trip to the grocery store, a trip to the doctors, anything. It's all new. We're all experiencing something that's new and strange and uncharted and heart-wrenching and scary. And we're the people that are telling these stories. It's our lives. And Miss Vicky B talked about it in her One Book July video, and it was just so on point. If you haven't seen some of her videos talking about documenting the pandemic and stuff like this, I highly recommend you go watch it, because we're telling these stories that we've never lived this stuff before, so it's time we document it. And I'm getting off on a crazy tangent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my journaling, and I'm going to print out some more photos and get the last of this spread done, because this video has gone on for way too long, as usual.
I met an old man. I said, tell me your story. He took out a notepad and wrote something for me. Then he kept walking on down the road.
Live! I was like, what? Did it go through?
Disappear like smoke.
The delayed skims.
And I thought I'd just seen her go.
Oh, what's this one, Maggie?
And I looked down at what he wrote.
It's alright, shit's the best.
When you grow up, you'll be
It's the
fine.
best.
I know you've got questions on your mind. Life is gonna happen one way or the other, whether you like it or not. Stop looking for the answers, and you'll find what you've got. I met a young man, searching for glory. I took out a notepad and wrote in my story. Then I kept walking on down the road. When your time is up, it's time to go. I pray he reads what's on the note and takes to heart what I wrote. I said, son, when you grow up, you'll be fine. I know you've got questions on your mind. Life is gonna happen one way or the other, whether you like it or not. Stop looking for the answers, and you'll find what you've got. When you grow up, you'll be fine. I know you've got questions on your mind. Life is gonna happen one way or the other, whether you like it or not. Stop looking for the answers, and you'll find what you've got.
Okay, my battery is flashing, so I'm not going to take up much more of your time. I am almost done with my journaling. I added these two pictures as well, which were printouts from the day. I put hubby in here with a little bit of texture, some fabric, and this was a last minute kind of thing. I just really liked how the two pictures together looked. Opposite sides of the page, not so much, but together, and I thought on this little sort of country little banner would work. I've got a spot up here for some journaling. I did like how it says happy heart and family. I also do more of what makes you happy here. And then lazy days, when I've got the to tired, well, unimpressed, very tired hubby, and I'm pretty happy with how the spread has come along to kind of show you what you can do basically with a little bit of interesting things. And like I said, you can document so many simple mundane things in this style. It doesn't have to be a trip anywhere, but it's just all about the little details and making those details stand out. But yeah, this is pretty much it. I moved a couple of things. I moved the number down here so that this little section was just for like Sunday, which was all driving, so we didn't really do anything. So I just added the little picture of my this thing, my Apunto, which is on my lap in the car, and just put Inverell to Sydney Sunday, and then I'll put the journaling about the car trip, which was next to nothing. That's why it only has a small space. I'll probably journal about the natural flowers and things that we saw. I liked that I stapled it to here. I decided to leave these just so that I can pull them out and look at them. I was going to double back them with more journaling spots, but to be honest, I didn't really need it. I've got journaling here, I've got a spot here that I've got to finish journaling, and I've got a spot under here in this little bordered area, so I didn't need any more journaling spots. So but this is my little spread, and talking you through the whole process and sort of giving you some ideas. No drawing skills needed. Well, I did a little bit of doodling, but that's just mindless doodling to me. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed watching me put this plethora of a spread together over the last 2 days. It has been 2 days. As you can see, I have a different jumper on my arms, but yeah, I really love how it's looking. I did have a little play last night. I'm slowly getting some more elements into this spread, just sort of catching up and getting my bearings. And I think that's all I did last night while we were watching Chernobyl. Yes, so I was just working on getting this spread, sort of getting it up and going and getting it sorted, putting up a border, adding some, this tip-in was what was irking me, so adding a pop of pink and some of the Lee Ellickson vinyl sticker from Patreon. But yeah, we're getting there, guys, we're getting there. We are getting there. But this was today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you'd like me to go through this sort of process with you every now and again to sort of give you ideas on how you can document certain things, and just give you some ideas on what I would do with a very simple trip, and sort of showing you how I place things on the page, even though it kind of does a zigzag. If we go down here, if I was to go through the pages down here, and down here, I think it all is very well balanced. Everything works together, all the colors work together. I added a bit of cream and red. I brought this in to sort of cool down some of the cooler tones, and I thought it looked very country and very fitting for this thing. I just really like how this looked. I like the texture of it. So I hope you've had a fantastic weekend, and I hope that your week is an easy breezy one, and I will see you again soon. Bye.